Welcome everyone to another Results Now webinar. This is Jeff Herring, your host, and we are broadcasting live from our virtual studios here north of Atlanta, Georgia. And our topic today is the 7 profitable laws of repurposing, the 7 profitable laws of repurposing. Plus, we're going to give you a sneak peek inside the Repurposing Content Secrets training. Going to get you a little look at Module 1 that we did a couple of days ago. So welcome everyone. If you are brand new and this is the first time joining us, welcome. So glad you're here. I think that you will agree by the end that you have had a different experience on this webinar than you have on most, because we get things done and we get them done quickly. This probably, I don't want to promise you 51 and done because of these 7 things, but we'll probably get there. And if you're one of our regulars or even irregulars, appreciate your continued support and hanging out with me. And there's lots of people I see on here that have been with us for years, so thank you for that. And let's move forward here. Got a couple sponsors, one of them brand new. The first one, of course, is Repurposing Content Secrets. That is the brand new course all about repurposing, and is quickly becoming the flagship course for that concept, for that skill across the internet. That does mean at the end I will offer you membership in that course if and only if I've delivered on all my promises, and I will check with you to see if in fact I have. And we always have a charity sponsor, a new one here called Lighthouse Family Retreat. It's something that my church is involved with. Lighthouse Family Retreat does a really cool thing. All throughout the year, most especially in the spring and summer, they work with families whose kids have cancer. And the families get to spend an entire week on the beach. And they don't have to do anything but be with their family and get served and taken care of. And so Caleb's best friend, Charlie, he and his family went down there. And they spent their spring break last year down there on a mission trip. And they did it while they gave up their spring break, plus while 2 family members were very, very sick. One eventually died. And just the stories I heard from that, Caleb and I went, let's do that. So Caleb and I are doing that this summer for a week. My youngest son and I are going to be volunteers down there. And so a percentage of everything I do on my webinars will go to that organization. And there's a GoFundMe campaign going on as well. And so there'll probably be stuff about that later. But anyway, that's one of our sponsors, because I always like to give back because I've been so blessed. So later on, when you invest in the course, you're also investing in helping families that are struggling actually have a good time. So here's what we're going to cover today. 7 laws, profitable laws of repurposing. The law of vision, the law of SMART, the law of reach, the law of HyperSanity, the law of channel and platform, the law of cross-pollination. What the crap is that? The law of prospects and profits. Going to give you a look over my shoulder, sneak peek into Module 1. Excuse me a second. Going to walk you through your very next success steps, and like all my events, so much more. So let's talk about the law of vision. All right. Now, this is a mindset piece, and I like to start with mindset because here's the reality, folks. I could give you dozens and dozens of strategies about repurposing and about other things too. Okay. Unless and until you're looking at things the right way, you won't be able to do them the right way. So the law of vision, the mindset piece, is so that you can see things the right way, so that you can do things the right way. This will increase your prospects. This will increase your profits. This will increase the ease with which you do stuff. This will also increase the ability, actually, let's do what it'll decrease first. It will decrease waking up in the morning not knowing what to do. So many of us, when we first start out, we wake up in the morning, we want to get stuff going on, but what do we do? How do we get things going? This will help This will help you know exactly what to do first, where to get started, and exactly what to do next. And yes, Barbara, this is coming up from my these laws come from my experience. These are not written in stone somewhere. They are not on the books somewhere. They are based on my experience of doing this. So yeah, you can make up laws for your area of expertise too, for your for your uh, for your niche. I used to write about these a lot when I had a weekly syndicated column back when I was a relationship coach and counseling psychologist. And I got an email once from an attorney that said, "Come on, you can still go to law school, Jeff. There's still time." It's not about that. It's about, just like a physical law. Okay. If you don't know gravity exists and you violate the law of gravity, you're going to get hurt. Doesn't matter that you don't know about it. But when you do know them and you know how to work with them, your success comes that much quicker and takes you that much further. So the law of vision is all about looking at things the right way so you can do things the right way. And here's the bottom line for the law of vision. I want you to be able to create, exercise, and grow the muscle of being able to look at one thing and see many, many, many things. For our purposes, this means looking at one piece of your content, no matter what it is, and being able to see many, 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 many other ways to use it. Okay? So let's just play with this a little bit here as we're starting out. In the chat, for those of you that are live with us, um, and then for those of you that are listening to the recording, you can just play this game for yourself. If you're reading this in a Kindle book or another kind of book later, you can play this game with yourself and just pay attention to what we do here. In the chat, though, just name for me a piece of content. Any piece of content you've ever created, and get as creative as you can. And I'll talk about other things it could be. So, a blog, Candy says a log post. I think you mean a blog post. Most people, when they do a blog post, will do, 3 things. Turn that into 3 blog posts right there. Okay, that's also an article on LinkedIn, Medium, Facebook, Facebook Notes, easy in articles. Let's take it into another channel. That could easily become a webinar. Could also be a live video. Take a blog post that's got 3 parts to it and turn it into an information product with 3 modules. Okay. Tim says a YouTube video. All right. So again, you can do it 3 parts, or you can break it down into 3 YouTube videos. If you've already done a video, you could do a longer one and make it part of an information course. Get that video transcribed, and then you've got a blog post, and so on. Let's see, Molly, a tutorial for query letters. Okay, great. That's part of that could be a great giveaway. Okay, give part of that tutorial away for people that need to write query letters, Molly. It could also be part of an information product and turn it into a video as well. A Facebook post, Tammy, thank you. Okay. See, what most people do with their Facebook post, Tammy, is they look at that as a throwaway. Okay. And it's not a throwaway. Expand it a little bit. It's a blog post. Could also be a great infographic. Take that and put it on as a meme using something like Typorama, free app. Not a free app. It's like a couple dollar app. Or you could turn it into an infographic as well. Okay. Alan says a link magnet for a product. Yeah, so like an opt-in, right? All right. Now, here's something about opt-ins that most people don't realize. An opt-in that's given away free needs to be good enough to sell. And when you make it good enough to sell, it easily becomes a product. For instance, I've got one link magnet that's 21 profitable blog post and article ideas. So that could easily become a course all by itself. A little bit of information for each idea. It could easily become a webinar, a training. Okay, every single thing you ever produce, folks, could become a training. Okay, so one more from Tim. A Bible class that I taught live and recorded. Okay, so you've got the recording. Great. Whether it's recorded in video or audio, I mean, it could be a teaching video. It could be on YouTube. You could turn it into a course easily, get it transcribed, and it becomes an article, a blog post. Depending on how long the class was, it could be a good Kindle book. And if you get it up to 23 pages, you've got a Create Space book. Okay, so on and on and on it goes. And audio, a lot of people are saying, all right, easily turn that into a teleseminar, right? Do that in person. It can become a video. Break it down into slides. You've got a webinar. Get it transcribed. You can do a million things with it in text. Another thing you could do with it in text is turn it into an auto responder series. Okay, I could easily take this very webinar and break it into segments just for each law, and then it becomes an autoresponder series, either in text or in video. Okay, so that gives you a flair for what you can, how you can look. Excuse me. How you can look at one thing and see many things. Yay or nay in the Q&A, please. Molly, the service that transcribes anything. You can send them a YouTube video. You can send them whatever. Tim and Alan say yay. Kenny says yay. It's called rev.com, rev.com. They are my go-to transcription service for something as long as this, and this will be transcribed. It can take, now brace yourself, it can take as long as 24 hours to get it back. Okay, $1 a minute. Tammy says she's used Rev and they are great. When I send them like one of my little Facebook Live things or one of the podcasts or Results Now cafes that are like 7, 10, 12 minutes long, I get it back in a couple hours. It's awesome. Okay, so that's an example of the law of vision. Now, it's easy for me because I've been doing this for a long, long time, not just online. Back when I wrote a weekly newspaper column for the Tallahassee Democrat when I was a therapist, I would take that column, came out in the paper, right? I would get the paper, I'd cut it out of the column, of the paper, and I'd make copies of it, okay? And I'd keep it on file. That week, every client I had took a copy of that column with them from the session with my contact info on it. Got a lot of referrals that way. I would also take that a copy of that over to the radio station where I did 2 interviews a week. And once a month, I would take one of them because, yes, folks, you're in the presence of the former Good Morning Family Therapist for WCTV and NBC in Tallahassee, Florida. So there. So I've been doing this repurposing thing a long time. So yeah, it's easy for me to do this. The reason it's easy is I've been working that muscle for a long, long time. So I want you to install this law, this ability, by every time you look at something you create, what else can you do with it? All right, so that's the law of vision. Let's move on to the law of smart. All right, now, in the privacy of your own home or office, raise your hand, and here in the chat, if you're here live, say yes. If you've ever been told to work smarter instead of harder, if you've ever been told to work smarter instead of harder. Yes, 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 yes. We all have, right? It's one of those buzz phrases for business. Now, other than me telling you about repurposing, have you ever been told how to work smarter instead of harder? No, 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 no. Yeah, exactly. Sounds great, right? Nice soundbite, but exactly how do you do this? Repurposing is the how, folks. And this is one of the ways I get asked all the time, Jeff, we follow you on Facebook. You're always doing something with your kids or your dogs or your friends. You're always in the mountains or on the lake. How do you do it? And yet you're online all the time and do all this stuff. Okay. This is half of the how. Repurposing is half the how. The other half of that how is I've got a great team that does stuff for me. But I always didn't always have that. I started out like you guys when there was a whole lot more time than there was money, and I had to learn how to do it all myself. Eventually, there's more money than there's time. It's a good place to get to, and you will. And then you can hire people. This is the how of this, to be able to do one thing and use it in so many places. Those of you guys that are already in the Repurposing Content Secrets course, module 1, Monday night, when we repurposed a piece of text about 20 ways, and we did it live looking over my shoulder. Did you get it? That you could take one piece of content and pretty much be seen in a lot of places? Yeah, yay or nay in the Q&A, or what? Yeah, Tim says slam dunk. Yeah, okay. Bam, says Vicky. I like you guys. All right. So with practice, this becomes so easy and is the how of working smarter instead of harder. Okay. Alan says it was amazing. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. What's amazing about it is how far you can go and how many different places you can put your content and make life so much easier for you. Going back to the law of vision, what most people do is they create one piece of content, right? And Tom offers a very pedestrian yes. Why, thank you for that walk, Tom. What most people do is they create one piece of content, put it out somewhere, and go, oh, I need some more content. And they go to create more, which is fine to create lots. You want to be prolific. This is also, thank you, Isabel. This is also one of the ways to be prolific. Okay. But you've heard me say this a lot of times. I don't want you to do what most people do, because most people, folks, are broke. Okay. And you don't want to be broke. I don't want you to be broke. I've been broke and I've had money. I like having money better. It's good to know how to do both, but I'd prefer having money. So instead of doing what most people do, take one piece of content and practice how many places you can use it with the law of vision, which leads you right into the law of smart, because this is how to work harder. I mean, work smarter. Forgive me. Work smarter instead of harder. Both of these lead to the law of reach. Okay. Now, you're probably starting to get that all of these laws are connected and interdependent, and they are. That's a beautiful thing about these 7 laws, is that they support each other and they make each other more powerful. All right. So I was alluding to that earlier when I was talking about taking one piece of content and getting it in multiple places. All right. Now, back in the day when I was first trying to figure out the internet, we're talking 95, 96, I think it was 96 or 97, I got my first email address. And the first thing I ever sold online, I'd write that column and people would write me letters about it or send me email about it. And I built my first email list with permission, of course, out of that. It was kept on CompuServe. Anybody remember CompuServe? It was kind of like AOL Lite for people that couldn't afford AOL. And I created little daily newsletters, okay, talking about just topics about relationships. And yeah, Tammy remembers CompuServe. So does Candy, Tammy and Candy. And I create just a few of my articles, and with some software called, I think it was called ClickBook. I don't even know if it's still around. Created little booklets on topics and offered them on those little emails that went out 5 days a week. And they were $5, and people would send me $5 checks or $5 bills in the mail for these little paper things. And I thought I'd struck gold. Because what had happened is I'd been working with people one-on-one for a long, long time, or in groups, with the notion of trying to reach more people. That's why I was doing a lot of speaking. And then the internet came along, and I thought, wow, you can really reach a lot more people with any kind of positive message with these interweb things here. Okay, I hope it's not a fad. And so when I first started, there was email and there was websites, and that's all. Okay. The beauty of now is you've got email and websites and blogs and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube and Vimeo and social media out the wazoo and webinars and live streaming. And there are so many ways to increase your reach. Okay. That's one of the reasons I love to have you guys let me know on a webinar where you're dialing in from, because I love to know where in the world we're reaching out to. Because the bottom line is this, folks. The greater your reach, the greater your riches. Okay? The greater your reach, the greater your riches. You want to drive more traffic? You want to build your list? You want to sell more of your resources? Increase your reach. Okay? You want to increase your reach? Take your content and repurpose it in as many ways as you can. I shared with some of you recently. Isabel's here from Switzerland. Hey, Isabel, welcome. What time is it over there? Probably like 10:30 or so. Um, I've shared with a few of you that last couple of months we're going through this great. At first it was decluttering. Now it's become a great purging around here and cleaning out a storage unit and that kind of thing. And I keep finding all these old articles I wrote, and I had sectioned them off into binders by topic, and I'm looking through them going, man, a lot of this stuff still applies 10, 15, 20 years later. All of these would be great blog posts, articles, Kindle books, other kind of books. Okay. And that's in all those places is just going to increase my reach with repurposing. Okay. So the greater your reach, the greater your riches. So we've looked at the law of vision, the law of smart, and the law of reach. Leads us to the law of HyperSanity. All right. Now, just give me a yes in the chat if you have ever heard the definition of insanity, which is doing the same things over and over again that don't work and expecting different results. I think that was from my buddy Al Einstein. Doing the same things over and over again that don't work and expecting different results. Yes, 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 yes. Judy, Vicky, Isabel, Tom, Tim, Tina, yes. Okay. So that's a good thing to stop, right? When you find yourself in a hole, quit digging. Kind of basic, kind of hard for us to do sometimes with human nature. Repurposing turns that whole notion upside down. Okay. Because repurposing is hypersanity. It's not just regular old sanity, okay? It's hypersanity. It's being really, really intelligent and really, really wise and really, really all things good. Because the law of hypersanity tells us that repurposing is using the same thing over and over again and getting great results. Okay? Using the same thing over and over again and getting great results. Now, every time I talk about something like this, people say, well, doesn't Google frown on using the same thing over and over? Isn't that duplicate content? No, it's not duplicate content. Okay? Now, duplicate content is one of those scary things. It just sounds scary, doesn't it? The phrase duplicate content. Like if you get caught committing duplicate content, there's going to be a knock at your door one day and Google's come to take your computer, right? They're looking for the dark hat people, the people that are trying to scam the system. And here's what duplicate content is and how some people try to scam the system. Okay? Let's say that you or I wrote a really good blog post, a really good article, or did a really good video, and it got like a gazillion views. Okay? For my transcriptionist, that's G-A bazillion. Okay? Gabazillion. It's a big number. It's a real number. Gabazillion. At least it's real now. Okay? And of course we want that on our blog or our website, right? That's fine. That's what you want to do. What the black hat people do is because it got so many views, is they put that same video or same article or same blog post in dozens or hundreds of places on the same website, okay, to get that traffic. That's duplicate content, okay? Now, taking a piece of content and using it in different places with a few tweaks, that's not duplicate content. That's repurposing. That's HyperSanity. So I hope I've taken away a worry or a objection for some of you about what might be holding you back from doing this. Because think of it this way. Picture or draw a vertical line on a piece of paper, and about a quarter of a way down the vertical line, draw a horizontal line across. Okay? So at the top of that vertical line is you've got an article out there on, say, LinkedIn. Okay? And you're also going to have that article on your blog post. Okay? That's fine. Okay? You want to have them be tweaked a little bit to be a little bit different and used at once on your blog post. Okay? That's the vertical line. On the horizontal line, you can put that content across as many channels as your heart desires. Okay? As many platforms as your little heart desires. In text, in video, in audio, in infographic, in social media, and on and on and on and on. Okay? So I'm inviting you to be hyper sane. Use the same thing over and over again and get great results. Reminds me of a kid I worked with when I was a counselor who was very, very worried about any of his friends knowing he was going to counseling, thinking they would think he was crazy or something. So I wrote, let's just call him Johnny Smith. I wrote on a piece of paper, Johnny Smith is hereby declared sane. And I just gave it to him. About 10, 15 years later, guys in his late 20s, I ran into him somewhere, and he opened his wallet, and he pulled out that folded up piece of paper that was all creased and well worn. Because he goes, heck yeah, man, I've used this ever since then. Because somebody starts saying I'm nuts, I show him my papers. I said, see, I've got proof I'm sane. Where's yours? So I'm glad I was able to be helpful back then. All right, so that's the law of HyperSanity. Now let's talk about the law of channel and platform. We've been talking a lot about channels and about platforms, right? Okay. For our purposes here, a platform is the medium or the media in which content is delivered. A channel is the particular subheading under which it goes out. Okay. So there's 5 main platforms: text, audio, video, social media, and infographics. Okay? Text, audio, video, social media, and infographics. Now, what a lot of that has to do with is something called visual content. And I've been telling you guys for a couple, 3 years now, as I watch the trends online, more and more of what we're doing is going to video and graphics. Okay? There's still a great place for text content, et cetera, et cetera. And that's always going to be so. But visual content is huge. Okay? The other day I was thinking about that and went to buy a new domain name. I went to buy Visual Content Secrets. I said, okay, that'll be a good course. And I went to buy it and somebody else owned it. And I checked on who it was, and it was me. I bought it in the fall and forgotten I'd bought it. Anybody else ever do that? I bet you have. All right. So 5 main platforms: text, audio, video, social media, and infographics. And with each one of those each one of those platforms are all kind of channels just on text: blog post, LinkedIn, Pulse, e-zine articles, Facebook Live, Medium, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's take video. Okay, you've got YouTube, Vimeo. You've got video now on. You can put video on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Pinterest and Instagram. Video in so many places. You do a social media post that can go out to all the different social media channels. Can be turned into it is multiples, folks. And here's the thing: you want to be found in as many of these places as possible. Now, we did 20 something the other night, and that doesn't necessarily mean that every time you put your content on all those places. Okay. What you will find over time, and what the folks in the class are going to find, is there's a sweet spot. Okay. And the sweet spot is one of those things where I call X marks the spot, where one line in the X is one of the channels that your audience responds the most to. Okay. And the other line in that X is one of the channels you like using the most. Where those two cross is a great repurposing sweet spot to get a lot of your stuff. Okay. Because here's the reality. Not everyone is on Facebook. Not everyone watches videos. Not everyone listens to podcasts. Okay. Not everyone looks at infographics. Okay. So you want to hit people where they are. Now, one of the other objections I get to this is, well, what if somebody sees the same thing in all those different places, Jeff? Won't they think I'm redundant or something? Um, Probably not. But think about it this way: you're not important enough for somebody to find the same content on all those different places. Neither am I. None of us are. Okay. Another way to look at that, if in fact by chance somebody did find your same content in 20, 30 different places, ladies and gentlemen, that's not a prospect. That's a stalker. And I know about these things because I've had two in my life. And you don't want that. You want prospects, not stalkers. Okay. So when you get your stuff out on multiple platforms and multiple channels, it's a good thing. And I'm going to pause for a moment and go speak to a couple of dogs. Be right back. I don't know if you guys could hear my dogs barking, but I could hear two of them, and it was distracting the heck out of me because actually, two other people had the audacity in our cul-de-sac to walk their dogs, and mine decided they had to defend the house. Alan goes, "You told them." Yeah, I knew you guys were listening, so I kept it clean. So that's the law, and you don't got to just transcribe that, whoever's doing this. Anyway, the law of channel and platform. All right. So let's move on to the law of cross-pollination. Like my guy there with the bees and the microscope. In case you're wondering, um, a lot of these graphics come from a place called presentermedia.com. It's like $51 a year. Get a lot of good stuff. What the heck is cross-pollination? Okay. Think of it this way. Okay. Let's say that you do an article on LinkedIn with 3 tips for whatever. Okay. 3 tips for growing great bee colonies, since we're looking at bees here. All right. And that's your niche, growing great bee colonies. All right. And you repurpose it over on YouTube, and you do one video for each tip. Right. Now, why wouldn't you, on that LinkedIn article, once you've got those 3 videos done, down towards the end of your article, before the call to action or around the call to action, why don't you offer those three video links so people could go watch what you just talked about? Okay, that's cross-pollination. Here's what that does. Okay, now you guys have heard people shouting from the rooftops about what a great big expert they are, right? How does that come across when somebody says, "Hey, I'm the greatest expert ever in this niche"? Does that make you want to listen to them more? Does that make you want to trust them more or less? Everybody's saying less. Yeah, exactly. Okay. No, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Um, one of many ways to demonstrate your expertise without declaring it is to take people on what I call a credibility enhancing social media tour. Because here's what happens at a subconscious level for a prospect that reads your article over on LinkedIn and then goes and sees a couple videos by you over on YouTube. And then the video call to action says, hey, go grab these tips for bee pollination. I don't even know if there's such a thing, but just work with me here. And now they're back on your blog, ready to opt in. What you've done is you've taken them on a credibility enhancing social media tour. You've taken them from LinkedIn over to YouTube, now to your blog. And you're demonstrating at a very subconscious level, wow, I can find this person everywhere on all these different channels and platforms. That must mean they really know what they're talking about. I'm going to see what I can learn from this person. All right. So whenever you get a chance on a platform or a channel to send someone somewhere else that will help them, not just for the sake of bouncing them around, okay, but for the sake of helping them. I mean, look what happened for many of y'all. You read an article, you watched a video with my stuff, you opted in for a freebie, then you got some emails, maybe one or two, and now you're here in a webinar, okay? And I don't scream from the mountaintops, I'm some great big expert. One, that's not my personality, and two, I don't need to, okay? Because you've seen all these different things, and now you're here. And many of you will become part of the Repurposing Content Secrets community here in a few minutes. And so what I'm talking to you about here, folks, the law of cross-pollination, it flat out works. All right, so now the biggie, the law of prospects and profits. Folks, this one is simple and it's powerful. And I love things that are simple and powerful. You don't have to get super complex and super complicated to do something powerful, to do something that makes a difference. The simplest things are often the most powerful, and I love things that are simple and powerful. Repurposing is simple and powerful. And for those of you that are still wondering whether you can do this, one of the things everybody learned Tuesday night in Module 1 of Repurposing Content Secrets is this. Write this down, a little bonus for you. If you can copy and paste, you can repurpose. Get ready to write that down because I'm going to say it again. If you can copy and paste, you can repurpose. Now, the training and the secret sauce is knowing how to copy and paste in certain areas and where to do it and how to tweak it different ways. I'm going to show you a little bit of that in a minute. But really, that's what it is, okay? Now, let's say that in this day and age, all you did was your 1990s website and email. Could you have a business? Yeah, okay? But you'd be leaving tons of prospects and tons of profits on the table, okay? Another analogy I use, if you're just fishing casually, I do a lot of fishing around here, there's a lot of lakes, you go out on the boat with your favorite adult beverage and cast a line in the water and kind of hang in the sun, and that's why they call it fishing and not catching, right? Because you're doing it for fun, for recreation. What if you're fishing to eat? What if you're fishing to feed your family? Then you want as many lines in the water as you can have, right? Same way here, because we're all fishing to eat online to build our businesses and help people. So you want as many lines in the water as possible, okay? So the more places you can be found, or better stated, the more places people can find you, the more prospects you'll get. Okay, the more prospects will find you. And the more prospects that find you and then see you doing other stuff. I mean, one of the reasons I do weekly webinars, besides the fact that they're just so fun, because they really are, um, is that it's great follow up. Okay, people that have gotten an email from me or done this or signed up here, it's a great way to follow up, and people see me in another platform. Okay, and when you do that, folks, um, most people will invest with you. More customers will invest with you. Okay, so following these laws and doing what we've talked about will result in more prospects finding you and more customers investing with you. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a very good thing. All right, so those are the 7 laws. Now, are you ready for your sneak peek into module 1 of repurposing content secrets? Give me a yay or nay in the chat here, please, folks. Yes, 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 yay, yay, yes. Okay, cool. All right. Now I want you just to notice something, because some of us go to great lengths to make these slides for you. This is straight off of I think this is off of Pixabay. This woman here, but I was real careful getting this little piece of text right up as close as I possibly could to this little graphic, so it looked like she's holding that piece of text. How did I do? You guys like that? Please take a moment and appreciate the length that I went to entertain you guys. I mean, come on. Thank you guys. Nice job. Tim gives me a 9.5. A work of art, Judy says. You guys are sweet. Just trying to have fun here, Tammy. All right, here we go. Here is module 1, crush it with text. Now, each of the 5 modules, text, audio, video, social media, and infographics, will have a checklist right here. All right. And here are just some of the ways you can repurpose text. And we created some more live while we were doing it the other night. So this is your checklist that you can go by, and you can add things. Now, the other thing we've done here in each module is this is downloadable. All right. Click here, download it. And some of my students, like Tim, loves to put these things in notebooks to keep with you, to remind you. I think that's a good idea. You can download it as many times as you want, print it out as many times as you want, so that when you do a blog post, okay, I put it on LinkedIn, I put it on Facebook Notes, I put it on Medium. That way you don't have to keep all this stuff in your head. Because let me tell you, keeping all this stuff in your head hurts. I'm getting ready to add some interesting things to the business and do some real cool stuff that you guys are going to love. But by Monday of this week, my head was so full of different things going on, and it was a good experience in that I was having to learn some new technology and new ways of doing things. And gosh, it was frustrating, and it gave me a good reminder of what it's like for my students when they're first starting out. So that was good. But by Monday afternoon, when I'd finished up most of the stuff I needed to do at my desk, I was so frustrated. I was ready to jump off a high bridge and punch orphans on the way down. And so ran a few errands and pulled into one of my favorite satellite offices, otherwise known as a restaurant. Sat down, and boy, did I want a big pulled pork sandwich, but I got a big glazed salmon salad instead. I pulled out my notebook and went, all right, God, help me download. And I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And it was great. And it got it out of my head onto paper. And on paper, it was so incredibly clear. And now it's gone from paper to flowcharts for my team and I. And that story is about the whole notion of getting something out of your head and onto a checklist in front of you. It just keeps you sane. and it keeps you focused and it keeps you helping people. All right. So for each one of these areas, each one of these channels, text, audio, video, social media, and infographics, there's a checklist. Okay. You get to download it and use it in multiple ways. Okay. And then you've got the webinar replay. All right. So this is just a little intro, $5 from Fiverr. Let's see if I can get this down as we go further in here. That was just one way. Whoops, I didn't want to go to Flow Player. That was what you just saw was just one way of repurposing. And what I had done is I had taken that that article about 7 profitable laws for repurposing. Gosh, where'd you hear that from? And turned it into Facebook. I went on Facebook Live and was talking about it. Great little way to repurpose. Okay, so that's what you're going to get to do inside the course. Is you're actually looking over my shoulder, watching as I repurpose my content. Now, the advantage to me is I'm actually repurposing it and going to use it in several places, right? Okay, but what you get to do is watch exactly how I do it. And then we always wind up with resources and links mentioned in the training. Now, here's what I think is probably the coolest feature of this whole course. Okay, what I'm going to do with this video is over 2 hours long, and I broke down repurposing into all of these things. Left out a couple because I want to go back and do that separately. What's going to happen is what I want you to picture is a web page, okay, that says blog post, and then next to it is a video showing you how I do a blog post. And then there'll be LinkedIn, and next to that is a video showing how I repurpose something on LinkedIn. So I'm going to be chopping up this video and doing however many minutes it took to do each one, showing you exactly how to do it. So for the checklist, you get to look over my shoulder for each one. Okay? So what I'm doing is repurposing this video down here into a checklist. Okay? Barbara says what she loves about the program is the homework. It makes me accountable to use the material that I'm teaching. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not homework, Barbara. It's play work. Okay? We had enough homework growing up. I think it was ridiculous to give us homework when we were in school all damn day. This is play work to help us do better. All right? So for each module, not just module 1, there will be a check, what I call my video checklist, whereby each thing that I'm showing you how to do, you will see the video of me setting it up and doing it. Okay? So there you go. There's your sneak peek. Now, I have to go back here now. There we go. All right. So the question I always ask at this time, have I delivered? Yay or nay in the Q&A. And obviously this is not going to be a 51 and done because I want to give you the whole goods here. And we're going to continue to give you good stuff and teach you good stuff as we move forward. And you guys are saying, heck yes, yes sir, yah, says Tom. Thank you for that yah, Tom. All right. Now let me ask you another question because I like to drill deeper. Was this free training as valuable as a paid training? If you'd have paid for this, would it have been good training? Yay or nay in the chat, please. Yes, yes, yay, yes, yes, sir, yes, for sure, yes, yes. Thanks, guys. Now, what have I just done here? Okay, I'm doing 2 things, and I'm telling you this so you can use it on your events too. Okay, Tom, I love you. I love your spirit. I hope since I bought it, I love it. So I'm doing a couple of things here. One, certainly all these people saying yes is social proof, right? Okay. I'm asking permission. I'm checking. Okay, so I'm not going into some big giant pitch. I'm saying, hey, was this good stuff? And I'm letting you guys tell me that. All right. You can do the same thing. Barbara says, I've repurposed my content. Yeah, absolutely. Barbara, I do it pretty much unconsciously now or subconsciously. I just do it. I don't really think about it. I just do it. All right. So here's what you've experienced. One small slice of what it's like to be a part of the Repurposing Content Secrets community. Okay. And I use that term on purpose. I realized the other day as I was getting ready for this training that I really don't create courses anymore. I create communities. And I like that a whole lot better. I create communities of people helping each other and moving forward. And I just love to see you guys doing that and helping each other. All right. So, and you got to do it all while working smarter instead of harder. Now, here's how we're going to do it in the course. Now, all of you that are already in, feel free to let everybody know why they need to come in. Okay. Because here's how we're going to do it. Like I showed you, we do a live webinar training on each one of the modules: text, audio, video, infographics, and social media. Those 5 right there. And we're going to have more little bonus stuff. Now, you get a repurposing checklist for each module, just like I showed you. And you'll have a repurposing checklist that includes video for each step. Isabel says she's learning by seeing me do it. And that's why I do it this way. Isabel, it's one of the best ways for people to get it and use it, which is what I'm interested in. Okay, so you get that repurposing checklist for each step. Look over my shoulder videos for each module. Your first bonus, the community that I'm talking about meets 24/7 because you get 24/7 access to our Facebook mastermind group. Here's one of the things I get a kick out of when I get up in the morning, usually around 5, 6 o'clock, is after I create some content, which is my first revenue generating ritual of the day, is I see all these people in these Facebook communities helping each other and asking questions and brainstorming and masterminding during the wee hours because we're all over the world, right? We're international. And it's just a kick to see people helping each other, okay? So you get 24/7 access to this. I'm going to pop over here and show you it, okay? This thing just opened up the other day. There's Jane asking a question, getting feedback. Same with Linda. I was just goofing off the other day. I do try to make you laugh. People talking about what they got from the webinar, asking questions and getting support. And look at this, man. It just goes on and on and on. I love my communities, and the community members end up doing it too. All right, there's somebody that hadn't gotten on board yet. Way to go, Bob. All right, so that's bonus number 1, access to our 24/7 access to our Facebook mastermind. Bonus number 2, about 5 or 6 years ago, I did another course on repurposing. And it has value, and it has a nice checklist in it. And it's a $497 value that you guys get access to as a bonus in this course. Alan says Jeff's communities are most active. Wait a minute, let me read this better. Jeff's communities are the most active, engaging, and supportive groups ever. These alone are worth more than the price of admission. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Now, longtime students and Alan, after reading a great testimonial like that, what's the next thing I'm going to ask? Somebody ask Alan for me in the chat here that knows where I'm going. What am I going to ask Alan? Or somebody ask Alan for me. Can I use that? Says Tim. Yeah, thank you, Tim. And yeah, Alan, can I use that? Just a little side note, folks. Ask right away when somebody gives you a testimonial. Don't wait. Ask them while they're excited. Do it right away. Okay? You'll see that one again. That's a good one, Alan. Thank you. And bonus number 3, still tweaking and developing it because I want you to have the best. Okay, Alan says, of course. Thanks, buddy. The repurposing editorial calendar. Some of you are wondering, how in the world do I keep track of all of this? Well, with the repurposing editorial calendar, so that you can see where you've repurposed a piece of content, and more importantly, the results from repurposing it. Okay, how many opt-ins, how many sales, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to love this thing. I'm loving it right now. Okay, so breaking it down another way, here's what you're going to get. 5 live training sessions, repurposing in text, audio, video, social media, and infographics. A $197 value each, altogether a $985 value. Remember, each webinar module comes complete with checklists and look over my shoulder videos and video checklists. You get 24/7 access to the Facebook group, the previous Repurposing Power Secrets course, and the Repurposing Editorial Calendar, all $497 values, adding up to $1491. Put that all together. Good Lord Almighty, we're up to $2476. And actually, it'd be worth it. We could lower it to the popular internet number of $19.97, or the other popular internet number of $9.97, or where it's eventually going to be once this course is done, will be $4.97. Now, currently, it's at $197 because we closed the Backstage Pass access on Tuesday. However, for this webinar, we have reopened it. Okay, so you can still get a $97 Backstage Pass to be there as I create this course at repurposingcontentsecrets.com. Now, if you're one of the people on here that are not there, you need to get over there because of everything you've seen and everything people have said. Okay, be sure to use this promo code RSC100 off. All right, so I'm going to type both of these things here into the chat so that you don't even have to type this into your browser. This is a really important place to spell well. Repurposingcontentsecrets.com. And I just popped it in the chat. If you would go over there, some folks, and let me know that in fact it's working. And I'm also putting in the RCS 100 off promo code. Use that, and it's also hello, Rev. Goodbye, Rev. See, I'm just showing you that I do what I say I do. When you go to this page, when you go to the info page, it'll also remind you. It's there, Christopher. Thank you, sir. If you're not in there yet, Christopher, use it. You'll also notice it there. You see it on the info page, so it'll remind you to use it. Use that. Get $100 off. Come on board for $97. All right. So your questions. I've done my best to get them answered as I've gone along here, and either answered them directly or incorporated them into what I'm teaching. And if I haven't covered yours yet, ask it again now, or if you got a brand new one, go ahead and ask it, and I'll give you a good answer. Now, one of the things that the members of the community will tell you in my Q&A, and this is at different levels. It's one level in a course. It's a deeper level in my insider circle. I don't just answer your question on trainings. I help you build your business around the answer. Okay, and I think that's a huge amount of added value. So, again, here's what you're going to get: the 5 webinar trainings, and they all come with checklists and look over my shoulder videos and checklist videos. 24/7 access to the brainstorming and masterminding community. The former course, the editorial calendar. Shanika says very true about that. Thank you, Shanika. One of the things you'll want to do with the downloadable and printable editorial, repurposing editorial calendar, is put it up on your wall where you can see it, and it reminds you of what you still need to do. Christopher, you talked about social media as channels and other platforms. How does this relate to it also being a platform? You know what, Christopher, you could probably use those words interchangeably, channel and platform. I just use them the way I did, and what I call the 5 main channels: text, audio, video, social media, and infographics, and then the rest are platforms. You could reverse that. Like with infographics, you've got Pinterest and Instagram, and anywhere else you can use visual content. Okay, you can use visual content on Facebook and Twitter. In fact, I don't ever put up a Facebook post anymore or even a tweet without some kind of visual content because your stuff gets open more. Tim says, and since it's being created as we go through the course, there will be more content than you're even describing. Yeah, that's true because you guys ask questions and make great suggestions. So thanks, Tim. That's true. And thank you for reminding me of that question, Christopher. I remember seeing it, but didn't flag it. So what are your action steps going forward? Okay. Go to repurposingcontentsecrets.com and let's get on board. Okay. It's only $97, which is, I mean, come on. You go out to dinner and a movie, you're going to spend more than that. By the time you go to get some some chain food meal, and go to the movies and get popcorn and soda, and it'll be consumed and gone. Whereas with this $97 investment, it'll grow and grow and grow as you grow your business. Check out Module 1. Now, you don't have to do it all at once. You can fast forward it. You can watch a bit and then go watch the other later. Consume it at your leisure. That's a beautiful thing. And then join us in the Repurposing Content Secrets community. This is from Alan. To any attendees not having joined yet, if you do anything at all to promote anything, wow, that's pretty thorough. If you do anything at all to promote anything, your business, yourself, the company you work for, etc., this will be the best short-term and long-term investment you can make. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Checks in the mail, Alan. Playing. Appreciate that, Alan. Seriously. All right. So again, total value $29.64. It'll eventually, when it's all said and done, and that's one of the things I teach in all my courses in some way, is the backstage pass strategy. Okay, because basically what's happening, being totally transparent here, is I'm getting paid to create this course. Okay, so would you like to get paid to create your next course or information product? Okay, this is how you do it. Offer a $97 backstage or a lower price backstage pass, and then sell it for a completed package. So go to Repurposing Content Secrets, folks. Come on board. Congratulations to everybody that already has. Appreciate it. And use promo code RCS100 off. All right, I think that's our last page. See, there's your great big backstage pass. Go get your backstage pass at repurposingcontentsecrets.com. Now, coming up next week, because it'll be February 11th, 3 days out from Valentine's Day. So I'm going to do a webinar about love. Okay, how to love what you do, how to love your community, how to love the difference you make, and how to love the lifestyle that you lead because of it. All right, so we might call it the love webinar, and probably get all kinds of strange folks in, right? But it's a good title, right? All right, so I believe that to be our last slide. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Wow, we got all that in just over an hour. That's pretty darn good. Invite you to go get this stuff at repurposingcontentsecrets.com and join us in the repurposing community. And I also invite you to go use this stuff because it flat out works. We'll catch you next time.